I'm lost for words. Just, yeah. Fuck. P9.
Hello, everyone. I am Liz. I am here without Iz this week, but still, welcome back to the P9 Pod. As we kind of teased last week, I am flying solo this week. Isabel is in Portugal now, but she was in Morocco. Very beautiful, very chic, and she's having a great trip. So love that for her. Really, really jealous. Gonna have to go one of these years. But yeah, just me here today. We're still gonna do a little recap of Spa, the whole weekend, everything fun that happened, and then look to Hungary and do some predictions. So first, at the top of the episode, especially because I'm here alone and I can talk about whatever I want. Not that I think Isabel would not want to talk about this, but I am a big soccer fan. So obviously this past weekend was the World Cup final. Not the most exciting goal scoring game, but exciting game for me. As a Barcelona fan, a lot of my friends from Barcelona were on Spain, obviously, and beautiful win for them. Shout out to my friend Ferrari for that winning goal. Very amazing to see. So yeah, loved seeing them lift the trophy, and love the little momentum that that's going to give some of my players when we go back into club season in the coming month. I guess next month, yeah. So hoping we can translate that energy into some Champions League winning football. But yeah, really loved that. Obviously, I've been tapped in the whole World Cup, but this weekend felt like a good time to mention it because it was the final. So sad that it's over, but really excited to get club football back. But yeah, love to hear your thoughts if any of you are fellow fans. But that aside, we'll dive into Spa and everything exciting that happened this weekend. To be transparent, I've also been really busy this past week. I had a friend visiting from another country, so we were doing a lot of fun stuff. So I was tapped in as much as I could be, but also FP1 and FP3 were really early, so I was a little bit half asleep. So I don't have a ton of practice notes, but I do have some important ones. So let's just dive right in. Obviously, we can't talk about Spa without talking about the sadness that comes with Spa every year, especially with Pierre, with Antoine dying here 7 years ago now. 6? I have no idea. But it's always really beautiful to see the grid come together and honor him before the race weekend. So really emotional, always seeing Pierre's post and every driver's post, but really beautiful to see everyone come together to honor the memory of the drivers that passed that day. But that was the way to start off the weekend, and then we went right into practice. Like I said, FP1, I was a little bit half asleep, so don't remember a ton of it, but sad to say, speaking of Pierre, he did crash in FP2, which we did not live to see. Obviously in Spa, of all places, it's not a good place to see anyone crash, and especially Pierre was sad, but luckily he was okay. Car was okay, so that was at least positive. Also in FP2, Oscar had car issues. I believe it was FP2 because I was really tuned in for that one. So he was off track for around 15-20 minutes. But as we've been seeing with these regulations, especially, every minute of track time is valuable. So definitely sad to see Oscar miss out on track time, especially at Spa, one of his favorite tracks. Just hate to see it. And this leads into, I think, a moment in FP2, which was a little funny moment, which Arvid was in the cockpit just waiting, and he was like on his phone. Just a literal hilarious clip, and I just love him so much. So whenever he does something silly like that, I'm like, he's just a teenager. Which, speaking of later in the weekend, obviously we saw Arvid and Liam flying home like on a regular plane and making a joke about it on Instagram, which was just so funny to me. So love those V-Card boys as always. But moving on to FP3 and qualifying, again, FP3 I was like truly half asleep, but Lewis did have that crash, which it was really great to see that his car was whipped into shape in time for qualifying. And then this is where we started to see the McLaren pace a little bit with Lando, and he was pretty fast in FP3, which was bittersweet because obviously it's great to see him succeeding with the car and getting some pace, but doing that knowing that he had a grid pen incoming was tragic. But still good to see him cooking with the car and having that pace. But that's kind of all I had from FP3. And then moving into quali, it was a tiny bit of a boring quali, but there were a couple highlights. As always, me and Isabel are big Williams girls, so we love to see both of the Williams making it into Q2. Again, that is as far as they made it in qualifying, but it was good to see them there. Speaking of, again, Lando had really great pace. So in Q3, he qualified P3, but you know, it's a shame he did not start P3. But again, it's the silver lining is, or not the silver lining, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. What I'm saying is he wouldn't have qualified P3 probably without the upgraded power unit. So you know what? We'll take what we could get. On that note, thank you, McLaren, for listening to my brilliant genius advice and giving Lando the upgraded power unit and more upgrades to come for Hungary. So really excited for that. But overall, semi-boring quali. We did see Nico Hülkenberg's car just stop, and he had to push his car like kind of off track, which was fun to see. Love to see the drivers really putting in the work. But yeah, other than that, we had quali, and we had Kimi starting on pole, which was super interesting as we looked into the race, because as we touched on last week, pole sitters don't often win in Spa. It's the worst side of the worst side of the track to start on. So it was interesting to see Kimi on pole and to see where we went from there. But yeah, it was Kimi on pole, Max P2, Lando P3, George, Charles, Lewis, Oscar, Arvid, Gabby, and then Isaac. Oh, did Isaac not? Oh, Isaac had the really big grid pen. So he was giving Max a bit of a tow in qualifying, which I know ruffled some feathers, as it always does. But yeah, Max ended up P2, so I guess it worked. But yeah, moving into race day, was really excited, was really scared for this one. But I was feeling optimistic, because I was like, even though Lando was starting P13, my pride and joy Lando Norris, I was like, he's really great at overtaking. He is going to cook with fire. So was excited for that. So anyway, lights out, away we go. Immediately, George Russell crash. Lewis Hamilton, George Russell incident. Like two of my top drivers. Obviously, Lando was up there, and then it's essentially Lewis, George, and Alex. So two of my top three drivers crashing in the first lap is never something I'm looking to see. But alas, it is what we saw in Spa. Immediately, I'm so upset for George, because at first I think George can pull it, out of the gravel. As we later find out, he could not do that, and he is not happy. Again, like most people, I didn't hear his radio until after the race, but he was fuming, and I always love when guys like George, Lando, can't think of any other examples right now, but the two of them specifically don't speak up enough, in my opinion, when their team is screwing them. Obviously, Max Verstappen is going to speak up. Lewis Hamilton, rightfully so, is a 7-time world champion, is going to speak up when something is going wrong. Lando and George don't speak up enough for me. So when I heard his radio and how angry he was, I was really happy to see it, because someone needs to say it. Like, we can't keep going on like this. It's insane. Obviously, we left that. Watching the replay, I was like, okay, racing incident. Wrong. Lewis Hamilton penalty. Even George after the race. I mean, obviously, George loves Lewis. Like, he's not gonna blame him unless he thinks the blame is necessary. Lewis does not think the blame is necessary. Or, not Lewis. George does not think the blame is necessary. What does the FIA think? The FIA thinks Lewis deserves a 5-second penalty. So, whatever. We're thinking, fine. Lewis, it's early in the race. He could cook. It's fine. Keep moving. We're watching the restart a couple more. Not the restart. Hello. We're watching the replay of the start a couple more times. Carlos Sainz, really good start, moved up a couple places. Love to see that. Again, Williams having a tough run at the start of this year, so was happy to see Carlos make up a few places. And Lando is already an overtake god. Like, I know we loved to see that, we being me, but also just like seeing him really put his skills to the test, because sometimes we forget it, especially after a year like last year when we saw a lot of starting from P1 and P2. Getting to see him overtake like that really, you know, makes me smile. So I was loving that. And then we have a Charles Oscar racing incident, which totally looks like Charles is gonna get a penalty, and I'm like, especially after that Lewis penalty. No further action. Which, you know, whatever. Happy for Charles. Obviously, it went well for him the rest of the race, but just crazy to see, considering Lewis got that penalty at the start for what looked like a racing incident, and everyone kind of thought it was. I feel like the commentators thought it was. I certainly thought it was. George thought it was. The FIA did not think it was. So, hate that. And then we started getting into safety cars. I forget, there was gravel on track, so not safety car. Well, yeah, safety car. There was a virtual safety car, I think, for the gravel on track. So we start getting into the pit strategy. Because Lando started on the hard, I kind of knew he wasn't gonna pit during the virtual safety car or real safety car. But it just sucks, because I was like, oh, of course Lando's on a strategy that's meant to last longer when there is like these early safety cars. So I was just down about that, but I was like, fine, maybe he'll like make up the pace, get a really quick stop, maybe there'll be a later safety car. Obviously this didn't happen, and we'll get into the woes of the McLaren pit wall later, but strategy keeps going. Lewis pits, and he's like, they're running a strategy he doesn't want, which I was like, great. Ferrari pit wall doing the same thing as always, as McLaren is. But the miscommunication between drivers and their engineers and the strategies, like, never fails to amaze me, because I'm like, do you not spend days planning, briefing? Like, obviously there's things that change, there's variables in a race that things are going to change, but like, I don't understand how we're in constant disagreement. And I feel like it's especially a Ferrari McLaren issue, which we talk about all the time, because me and Isabel are Ferrari McLaren fans, but just hate to hear that, especially from Lewis. Literally, like, back to my main point of, you have a 7-time world champion in your car. Maybe we listen to him, or at least explain what we're doing. I don't know. I struggle. Then, I don't know if it was this pit stop or a different one. Did Lewis stop twice? No, I think it was one stop. Lewis almost took out his mechanic, and I felt really sad, because he was like, is he okay? And I was like, oh, poor guy. But that happened. In the meantime, Isack Hadjar, who started from, like, as we just discussed, like P21, because he had that massive grid pen, has pitted also like 2 or 3 times. And I'm like, what is going on here? But he's making great time and making up places. He's working his way up the grid. So I'm like, you know what? You know who is cooking? V-Carb. Like, oh, wow, that was a slip. Red Bull. And we know Red Bull has a great strategy team. They got great engineers and they got great strategy. But I was like, something is cooking here. And nevertheless, it was. So we love to see that. At one point, we get Lando P1. I obviously know this is not going to last, because he's the only driver that hasn't pitted. But I'm like, end the race. Just end the race. Like, I'm okay with that. Just, you know, end the race. But obviously that's not what happens. And we're like, give me a really cheap safety car. Like, please. Doesn't happen, obviously. But I'm like, it's okay. You know what? He's still fighting for positions. He's losing them to, like, the front runners, because obviously his tires are dead. So I'm like, okay, we're going to pit. It's fine. Run-of-the-mill 3-second pit stop. I'm not even asking for 2 this season. I'm like, he still has a great chance to fight for a podium, maybe, if I'm being really ballsy and brave. Or just even, like, P5, P4. I'm taking even P6 at this point. Nearly 8-second pit stop. Nearly 8 seconds. I'm like, oh my god. Welcome back to the depths of hell of 2025, when McLaren cannot execute more than 1 pit stop a race. It is sickening to see. I'm like, really, we can't even get that right. So I'm pressed. I'm now crashing out Mega. And later, I kind of get over it. I'm like, whatever. This race is a wash anyway, because he has the new power unit. He had the 10 place grid pen. I was like, fine. P7, finishing P7 is not bad. But then I'm just thinking about the strategy calls and the pit stop and the errors, and Oscar had damaged the whole race and he was like nursing his car, and then they're like, don't yo-yo with Oscar, and I'm seeing all this on Twitter and I'm like, oh my god, wait, I'm getting mad. Like, I wasn't mad, and then I was like, oh, I'm actually getting really mad, because as much as like this race was kind of like, it was a trial because it's new power unit and we're starting from P13, as much as I'm like, it's fine, any points are points, just knowing the errors that McLaren made, and also with Oscar nursing the damage the whole race and losing time the whole race, I'm like, we couldn't prioritize anything in Lando's favor. Like, he's got great pace, he's moving and grooving across the track. I'm like, insane to me, just insane to me. So I can't get fully into it because I will be fuming, and honestly, it's not worth any more of my time and energy, but I better see something new from McLaren this weekend. I've had enough. I've just had enough, period. But I've had enough of Lando Norris, reigning world champion, just struggling and getting not the right calls and not the right moves and having these awful pit stops and these awful strategies. And I'm like, I'm sick of it. I'm really sick of it. And this is not anti-Oscar. I like Oscar. I love Oscar as a guy, as a driver. He's one of my guys. Obviously, I'm a McLaren fan. But am I really a McLaren fan? I'm a McLaren drivers fan. The McLaren team unit, please get it together. Hungary is historically an excellent track for both drivers. I said this last week. I'm saying it again. Let's cook something good. Let's not do this nonsense this week again. I really don't have the time and energy for it. Before the summer break, let's literally go on a bang. Bring back the 1-2. Bring it back. I know I'm going on a tangent here, and I'm not getting into my predictions yet, and I did not predict a McLaren 1-2, but I did predict something crazy. But maybe not. If McLaren gets it together, I don't think it's that far-fetched. That's my little rant. Because that strategy sent me fuming, and then, to be honest with you, the rest of the race I wasn't like fully locked in because I was so upset. But, you know, we watched the rest of the race. Franco had that really amazing move that we really didn't see on the main broadcast, which was upsetting, but great overtake. Gotta be overtake of the month. Just love to see it. And then the race finishes. Kimi obviously gets the win, although it's not as easy of a pole to win as you may seem, because he had to overtake Charles towards the end to get that win, and he did it, and then he ran away with it. But, you know, I did put Kimi, spoiler, in my predictions, because I was like, he needed that little bit of redemption after that horrible Silverstone, and he had that win. So you know what, happy for him. It was his dad's birthday weekend. That always makes me sentimental. Love to see it. And yeah, Isack and Lando both had great races, moving up tons of places. Selfishly and biased, I think they deserve driver of the day, especially Isack, making up all those places, but it's fine. And yeah, it was just good to see. I enjoyed the I enjoyed the race as much as you can enjoy the race when your team blunders a strategy so bad. But I digress. It's no Qatar last year, so we'll take it and move on. But yeah, that's kind of all I got for the race recap portion of this episode. Now let's tap back into our past predictions and look at our predictions for the following race. So, first Spa, me and Isabel were actually aligned in the fact that we each got one right. And they were both different people. So you know what? We together we're kind of cooking. But she predicted Lewis win, George P2, Charles P3. I predicted Kimi win, Lewis P2, George P3. Obviously, neither of us had Lewis or George. Unfortunately, both of them involved in an incident, racing lap 1. But she had Charles on there, and I had Kimi on there in the win. So we got a little bit of something going on. Neither of us put Max Verstappen there, and he made it fun. So I know both of us were kind of toying with the idea of putting Max there, but the Red Bull is so hit and miss, like super hit or miss. So happy to see him back on the podium. He got a bit of a haircut, I think. I know we both noticed that. So debut that fresh haircut on the third step of the podium. Love that for you, Max. Looking at our P9 predictions, the actual P9 of the race was our good friend, usual suspect, Arvid Lindblad. But yeah, always love to see points for him. It was our P9. But our predictions, Isabel predicted Pierre, who finished P11, and I predicted Nico Hulkenberg, who finished P13. They're both just so slightly out of reach of that P9. I really need Nico to get some points sometime soon, because I'm missing seeing him up there. And where's Gabby? Gabby finished P8. That's pretty good, because I keep feeling like we talk about this every week, but I feel like Audi's got something going on there. It's just obviously their first year making their engine, and we haven't really seen the full power of it. But I would love to see Nico back in the points. I'd love to see Nico in top 6, top 7, but I'll take P9 for now. But yeah, our actual P9 was one of the usual suspects, Arvid Lindblad, who did outscore his teammate Liam Lawson with the upgraded parts. So I know they only tested the upgrade on Arvid's car this week, and it obviously showed to be more efficient, more powerful. So I'm sure we'll see that on both V-carbs in the coming week. But now we will move on to our predictions for Hungary. So I did phone in Isabel because I needed to get her predictions for this. I wasn't going to let her go off without having them. So we're going to go through both of our predictions, and mine get a little crazy, as I hinted to earlier. So my prediction... we'll do Isabel first. Isabel's predictions, she's not here to back them up, but I'll just give you what she told me, is Kimi P1, Charles P2, and George P3. So Charles is going to keep his podium streak going. Kimi really is going to be back to his winning ways. 2 wins in a row. We'll see. And George really needs that redemption. He needs to get back up there. So fingers crossed we will see that. If you're Isabel, if you're me, we want to see something really different. And I know everyone's going to say to me, didn't you say you were going to stop putting Lando on your podiums? Yes, I did say that. But this week is different, guys. This week is so different because McLaren upgrades, Lando new power unit, no grid penalty as of right now, knock on wood. So unfortunately I have to put Lando P1. I really need him to go back to back, especially because he had those beautiful cutesy pie trophy picks last year. And also I keep getting the video now because obviously it's Hungary week. I keep seeing Lando when he picked up his trophy and moved it to the side, and then picked up the Oscars trophy and moved it to the side, and then did his champagne pop last year, was so freaking adorable. And I need to see it again. Like, I need to continue the Lando Hungary trophy saga. I know this is a big Lando glazing session, but like, truly just love him, and I need to see that again, because him and the little Hungary trophy, and he did his cute Hungary helmet in 2024. Just love this race and him. So putting him in my P1, braver than anyone I know, because we all know the McLaren strategy. Let's hope the pit team is putting in the practice this week. In my P2, I have George Russell. Common theme of this season of the P9 podcast is I want to see some redemption, and no one needs it more than George Russell after that horrific lap 1 incident last week. So would love to see George finish on the podium. Obviously I always love to see Lando and George together. 2019 rookies, Alex Albon, please please get on the podium this year. I'm really being brave. This season, nope, that's the same thing as this year. In the next 3 seasons, I'll give him that. AKA James Vowles, get it together and give my boy a competitive car. Anywho, Lando, George, Oscar. Again, putting 2 McLarens on my podium is insane. I understand that. And I know I'm sick in the head. I know I got that papaya sickness. I do. But unfortunately, I'm doing it. And I'm gonna be really brave and hope I'm right. I'm just hoping these McLaren upgrades go crazy style. And it's a rocket ship again. I just miss having a rocket ship, guys. Like, I know everyone everyone wants to have a rocket ship, but once you get a taste for it and then you lose it, you really want that rocket ship back. But you know what? It's okay, because I know Lando can fight his way up the grid in any car. It cannot be a competitive car, and he's making it competitive. So we love to see that. So yeah, Iz said Kimmy, Charles, George. I said Lando, George, Oscar. Our only common thread is George. So George, baby, get on that podium. That's all we can ask for you. But now looking into our P9s of the week, our predictions. As we all know, the iconic Nico Hulkenberg, Kevin Magnussen incident after Hungary all those years ago, where Kevin said, "Suck my balls, mate." Gotta love it. So because of that, Isabel put Nico as her P9 in honor of her man, K-Mag. Wishing he was still here every single day. I think the crazy Liam Lawson drives bring us back a little bit. So missing K-Mag. And for my P9, I put my boy Franco. Again, one of the usual suspects of P9. But after his tragic World Cup loss, I'm hoping he takes it out on the track, getting that P9 boy. So excited to see who is right. Excited to see if we get a crazy P9 like a Williams. I don't think we're going to get a crazy P9 like a Williams, but it's okay. I'm just going to hope for the best there. And then, not so much as a prediction, but I know tomorrow, or today if you're listening to this, because I think I'm uploading it on Thursday, we're getting a press conference with Franco, Fernando, and Carlos, aka all the World Cup baddies who are in the final. So they're so silly for that, and I'm excited to see what they say. I'm sure they're gonna clown Franco, but you know what? You win some, you lose some, Franco. You won the last World Cup, babe, so it'll be okay. But yeah, excited to see that. Excited to see the McLaren upgrades. I really love Hungary as a track, so I'm excited to be back there, and I think good things are coming. Good vibes are coming for sure. So again, our last race before summer break, which is really sad to see, but we have some fun things down the pipeline for summer break that we're thinking of cooking up in the meantime. So you guys aren't without our lovely commentary on F1 and all the fun things happening. Also, we know, I'm sure silly season will start kicking off soon. I feel like silly season goes all year these years, because always a rumor about Red Bull, Max Verstappen, drivers, and a lot of drivers are out of contract soon. So we're gonna have some crazy things going on. So definitely stay tuned. We might do some little fun episodes, some pit stops for sure. We're thinking of tapping into some Harry Styles, tapping into some more of the pop girlies. Ariana Grande's album comes out soon. Okay, this is a sore subject. I don't know if I should bring this up, but I will. Part of my time off from last time we recorded, I was seeing Ariana Grande. I was supposed to go with Isabel, and she is the biggest Ariana fan I know. And then we got the tickets after she booked her trip to Portugal. So I went in her honor. I was really feeling her presence there. I got her merch. All is well, but still feel bad for my girl, and I wish she was there. But yeah, excited for this upcoming week. And tapping into our meme of the week and also some fun F1 news. The Passenger Princess series with our girl Amelia is coming back for a second season, and the first episode with Charles did just drop, so I have to tune into that. And although my meme of the week is not about the race, it is back to when Charles and George, hello, Charles and Carlos were doing the race simulator with the blindfold, and Charles goes, "Oh, this is so relaxing. Break!" And I'm hoping he is the first episode that he brings that energy to the Passenger Princess series. I know we all really loved tuning into that last year, so I'm excited that it's back. I'm excited to see these drivers get out on the road as passengers. So really loving that, and that is why I chose that as my meme of the week. Isabel shared her spa meme of the week last week, and she did post up from the spa, watching spa on our socials, so make sure you tune in there. But supplementally, I know she's thinking, as I mentioned before, about Nico and K-Mag, suck my balls, mate. So I'm going to put that as her other interim meme of the week, and hopefully we get some more iconic moments like that at Spa at Hungary. Guys, you're all going to have to cope with me here, because also I've never edited one of our podcasts before. So if you hear me say some crazy things or I don't cut every time I mess up something, cut me some slack, guys, please. So yeah, I'm gonna try my hand at editing tonight and we'll see how it goes. And if you're listening to this, that means I somewhat succeeded. So props to me. Yeah, I think that's all for this week. Really excited to be watching the race and not exactly sure, but I am going to be back in the area where Isabel lives, aka where we grew up, next week. So we might try our hand at an in-person recording. We might try our hand at a video recording if we're really brave. So maybe stay tuned to that, but we'll see. Other than that, follow along on all of our socials. We'll be keeping up with all of the fun drama, news, everything going on. I'm sure we'll live post a bit during the races, quali, all that stuff we usually do. So make sure you're following along at the P9 Pod everywhere. And other than that, let us know if there's anything you want to see from us during summer break. We're open to requests and manifesting some good vibes for George Russell. But on that note, not a word. See you next week. Or maybe not next week. No, it's going to be next week. We have to do a recap. Okay, bye!